Hi, it's me again. I saw a post on Reddit. Um, Someone was talking about the end of their fall semester and how they were struggling. They felt like they were falling behind and not really playing that well, not keeping up with their peers, and just generally having some real emotional difficulty towards the end. And I just kind of wanted to make a quick video about that. I think that that's a common problem. Um, Not a problem, but I think that's a common occurrence in uh, university, in any field, but particularly in music, in a field where we're so connected to what it is that we do. And a lot of times our identity and our self worth is so wrapped up um, in what we happen to be studying. This is something that I personally struggled with during my bachelor's and master's. So I'll tell you a little bit about my own background, and then at the end, I have 5 or 6 things that I found to be really helpful. So for me, I noticed the biggest challenge was going from high school into college, so my undergraduate, especially the first year. I was so used to being like the best clarinetist in the school, the top player like in the area. I was involved in all state and all these honors ensembles outside of high school, and my whole life revolved around being a clarinetist, being a great clarinetist, and all things clarinet. And then I went to college where I was very surprised by the depth of the talent that was there. And I don't think I was like mentally or emotionally prepared for that level of uh, competition, and to have colleagues who were also top in their high school, who were also the best where they came from. um, that's not to say that I went to a school that had like a toxic music environment. I want to be clear. I went to the Crane School of Music in New York, and it was probably the best 4 years of my life. It was an extremely positive and encouraging environment while still being competitive. But for me personally, I definitely developed what I like to call little fish, big pond syndrome. So when I was back in my hometown, I thought I was just all that in a bag of chips. And then I went to university, and suddenly I went from being a big fish in a little pond to a little fish in a very big pond. For me, that was a really, really, really big adjustment. And honestly, it probably took me about 2.5 years to get over that. Um, and then I experienced a similar thing, although it wasn't such a shock, when I did my master's. So, one of the things that I noticed a lot, especially in my undergrad, was that I worked so hard and I was trying so hard to keep up with everyone. And it didn't really feel like I was making a lot of progress. I did well in my academic courses, um, and I always had prioritized practicing, but I wasn't practicing properly. And as a result, I wound up wasting literally hours and hours and hundreds, thousands of hours um, in a practice room, not doing effective work. So, some things that come to mind when thinking about this big fish, little pond syndrome and the struggle to keep up uh, is like 5 or 6 things that I think are really key. The first one: do not worry about anyone but yourself. You are going to be with people who come from a variety of different backgrounds, a variety of different levels, and who are in a variety of different stages in their playing. Do not worry about them. Worry about yourself. Don't compare yourself to your colleagues. Some people pick certain things up faster than others. Some people take a little bit longer. For me personally, I always felt like I was a little bit behind the curve. And it's only within the last 3 or 4 years that I really feel like I've settled into my playing. So don't worry about what other people are doing or where they are or who's better at what. You'll get there. We all have our own paths to walk and our own timeline that we follow. So don't compare your progress and your self-worth um, by using someone else as a measuring stick. Number 2, be honest with your self-evaluation. If you're having trouble and you're practicing, evaluate how much you're practicing and the quality of your practice. And when you do this self-reflection, self-evaluation, be really specific. Avoid general sweeping statements that have no objective merit or basis. Sweeping statements like, I just suck, or my articulation sucks. It's not helpful. So really try to think about how you're spending your time when you practice and how much time you're spending. It might feel like we're doing a lot, but it might not be productive practicing. It also may seem like we're spending a lot of time in the practice room, but we might be on our phone or on our laptop or distracted by a bunch of other things. So we're not actually spending as much time practicing as we think we are. This kind of honest self-evaluation will help you to determine what steps you need to take next in order to improve. It's the same kind of reflection that we should be doing in our practicing. We need to, when teachers suggest recording yourself and listening back so you can assess where you are, it's so that you can do an honest and objective reflection and evaluation of what you've just played, of what you've just done, so that you can troubleshoot what needs work, what work is still left to be done, and then how to get there. Number 3, talk to people. You're definitely not alone in feeling this way. This is such a common thing in music programs, and I've known plenty of people, myself included, where I've kept it to myself, I've kept it to myself, I've kept it to myself. It literally eats you alive. And then years later, you bring up with your friends how much you were struggling during that time. And you realize that they were struggling too. And that was a missed opportunity where we could have supported each other, we could have helped each other, and just provided reassurance that you were not alone in feeling so overwhelmed. Number 4, I think we're on number 4. Number 4, keep at it. Don't give up. I tell my students all the time, music is cumulative and it takes time to settle in. We need to build things slowly. It's building blocks that need to be stacked properly and in place so that one skill leads to the next, and that's how we get that facility and ease in our playing, and ease with our ability to learn music and learn repertoire. So stick with it. If you're struggling, it's okay. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to be frustrated. Once I had a teacher tell me, I was literally in tears during this lesson, frustration is good. It's a sign that you're on the verge of a breakthrough. So keep at it, keep pushing. Your frustration, while it sucks right now, is temporary. And lastly, you're in college or university and you're studying music. And you chose to study music because you love it, because there's something about music that brings joy to us. It's the community when we're playing with others. It's the feeling of accomplishment when we learn and progress and grow. It's the feeling of being able to create and interpret something. It's a way of communication. Whatever it is for you, because I believe it's different for all people, find a way to get back to what you loved about music, whether that's getting together with friends and sight reading through some chamber music, or playing cheesy pop tunes, or whatever it might be. But take time each week to bring yourself back to what made you love music in the first place. It's important to keep that reminder there. If you're really struggling and if you're not happy studying music, I don't think people like to talk about this, but I think it's really okay. And we should talk about it. If you don't like it, if studying music doesn't bring you joy, if you're afraid that it's not for you, that's okay. It's not for everyone. And I've known plenty of people, even those who've made it to their professional careers, who have decided not to pursue music full time. And a lot of times they wind up being much, much happier for it. It's a struggle. It can be a struggle in university, a struggle in college, and then a continuous struggle once you leave and you work as a freelancer or you're taking orchestra auditions or what have you. Um, so there's no shame in saying, I love music, but I don't want to make a career out of it. I find that some of the happiest musicians I know are the ones who don't. So if it's not for you, there's plenty of other things that you can do. And it doesn't mean that you can't keep music in your life as a big part of your life if you're not studying it. And of course, if you're struggling and you're upset and it's getting overwhelming, talk to your faculty, talk to your professors, talk to your friends, talk to a counselor, reach out for help. You're definitely not alone in this. I'd love to know what everyone thinks about this. If you have your own stories, as difficult as these stories can be, especially when we're experiencing them, I think they can wind up being some of the most valuable lessons. So I hope that this was helpful and somewhat reassuring. If you're having a hard time right now, hang in there. I promise. Hang in there and just keep trucking. You got to keep swimming. All right? You can do it. You can do it. And yeah, oh my gosh, leave a comment. Let me know. Let me know what you think. So that's all. Happy practicing.